G'day, Al. Thanks once again for your time. Now, this week, instead of talking about how you're going through your church plant, we're actually talking about how you're guiding at the same time other people into their church plants. And I guess we call that the Geneva Push assessment. Can you run us through what assessment is and basically what you've been doing over the last few days?
Yep, I did an assessment interview earlier in the week. I guess we've done about between 15 and 20 now, something like that. Assessment's really about, it's a detailed interview process to help work out whether a particular couple, and it's almost always couples, a particular couple is wired up, and if their marriage is wired up, so they're suited for church planting.
Yeah, so what do you go through? I mean, give us the nuts and bolts.
Okay, it's fairly involved. It probably takes something 12 hours to get ready. So there's a series of references from people, kind of 360 degrees, older, younger, people that you've discipled, people you've worked for, that sort of thing. There's psychological profiles in terms of questionnaires filled out and give you various strengths in personality and so on. There's questions about theology and theology applied pastorally. There's questions about godliness. One of the very key things is the wife in the couple's given an extensive questionnaire about her walk with the Lord and how she feels about this church plant.
So it's not actually just him and what he's doing. You're actually talking about it very much as a team.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, teamwork. I won't do an assessment unless my wife Kathy is there, or unless there's. We do it in threes, interviewers. Unless there's one of the wives present doing the interviewing, I won't do it. And unless the wife is present of the couple doing it, I won't either. So I won't just interview one bloke. We've done that once before, and I realise now it doesn't work. We're looking for teams who'll church plant, husband and wife, as kind of equal partners, in what they're doing. And so we need an experienced ministry wife interviewing, and we need the woman in the team there as well. There's things that the girls get about the girls that wolf-head blokes just don't get.
Mate, is it all just kind of top down? There you are, giving the benefit of your experience evaluating, or do you find a deal of encouragement too? I mean, you're involved in your own church plan. How do you find, actually just meeting with these couples?
Oh, it's great. Some of the couples we say, look, we don't think you're wired up for church planting, but everybody that we've assessed is great encouragement. These are people who love the Lord, got a heart for the lost, have been motivated enough to do all the paperwork, give us a sermon to listen to, all sorts of stuff. So it's great fun. It can be a bit difficult. Sometimes you've got to say hard things to people, like, we don't think you should do this for the following reasons, or here's what we think you need to work on. I mean, it's always done out of care for them, but sometimes it's your mates who'll tell you hard things sometimes. But we get to sit down with a couple for 2 hours or more, discuss things. And what's interesting is assessment is quite different to just a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee, you'll pick up certain things, but when you do the assessment process, it's like getting an MRI of them and their marriage and so on. Part of the reason that we're so keen to talk to the husband and wife together is I say to them, if the church plant doesn't work, that's a pity. If your marriage fails because of it, that's a tragedy. So we want to know, particularly, is a couple's marriage robust enough to cope with the pressures and strains of what's going to come?
Okay. And so obviously you'd swear by this as an approach for Geneva. Is this one of the strengths of how Geneva does things?
Oh, yeah, it's one of the key things. If you want to get into the Geneva network, you need to have an assessment interview. That's not for, that's not us being the kind of the church police or whatever. It's that we're concerned that it's not a question about should you be in ministry. It's a question of are you wired up for this entrepreneurial kind of psychologically hard work of pushing things forward. Okay. And the assessment's a very good way of working out whether helping people themselves work that out.
Okay. Well, let me turn the tables on you a little. You actually went through this process yourself. in order to actually start your own church plan. Did you learn stuff about yourself that was a little uncomfortable? Did you find that you had to grow in areas that you weren't aware of?
Yeah, it was interesting. The Acts 29 guys, in 2009, we went to an Acts 29 boot camp, and I did the assessment process there. In fact, the Acts 29 guys were very generous to us. They gave us their assessment process. Now, we've been working the last 3 years to kind of tweak it and Australianise it and so on. But they were very generous. I did the assessment. Unfortunately, it was in the USA and Kathy wasn't there. That's what I mean. Unfortunately, Kathy couldn't be with us. But it was interesting. What came out of that was don't take your wife for granted, which is, this is going on the net, isn't it? But it's exactly right. Because my Kathy's a low-maintenance girl, sometimes she can get no maintenance, if you know what I mean. So that was useful.
Yeah. Well, mate, you're going into your next week of church planning, mate. We hope not only you take that on board, obviously you've been doing so, but actually you do good work with assessing these other couples. Take care, and we'll chat to you in a few weeks' time.
Thanks, mate.